Hello, welcome back again. We are doing Game Master preparation. That's right, we're going to make some adventures. This is the sort of stuff that you do when you have time as a Game Master or a Dungeon Master. And we are back to that. Now, it's running on a different day. Normally I would not do this sort of thing on this day, but since it was Christmas Day when I would normally do this. So I didn't think that was going to make any sense. I wanted to have a day where I wasn't live streaming on a public holiday. So I took a break and I moved this. So we're doing it this day. I'm going to put up a poll. Feel free to take part in that poll. Grab some food, some drink. Make sure you're comfortable. How's it going, Fred Huber? How are you? I have an idea of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to do a presentation first. It's a slideshow. I've run this slideshow before. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, and then we're going to go straight into the process of making an adventure. I have already done some preliminary work on that. For those of you who are wondering, how long is this going to take? Well, I don't know. It really depends on you. It depends on the ideas that you come up with, and I will give you some parameters to work with it. Anyway, let's get started. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about role-playing games. This is a work day. This is Game Master Preparation Lesson 1, Adventure Building. This is the 11th adventure we have built on this channel, the 11th time that I've run this program. And each time we do it, it's always a hoot. So the overview for today is types of adventures. I'll cover those. The types of quests that you can have, the basic adventure building process, and some miscellaneous recommendations. Now you might be thinking, gosh, that's not very much. What are we covering? Don't worry, it's enough. Objectives: explain how to build an adventure for your role-playing game, demonstrate how to build an adventure, so we'll actually do some demonstration, and then get you to practice. So you're going to be part of that creation process because I want you to make your own adventures. This is the whole purpose of this program, is to get you to make your own adventures rather than buying somebody else's. Okay, let's start with types of adventures. They're broken up into a couple of different groups. So the sandbox or hex crawl adventure is where your adventures start in a set location, but they can venture out to any new place or location that they would like to explore. So they can go north, south, east, west. They can go pretty much anywhere they like, or anything in between north, south, east, and west. We also have the linear adventure. This is where the characters start at a beginning point or a beginning location, and they follow a set path to a climax in the story with a very strong plot line. Okay? There aren't necessarily going to be a lot of choices along the way, but this is how a linear adventure works. There's also a point crawl adventure. This is built from meaningful locations, in other words, important locations that you would want to go and explore, and they're connected by multiple in-world pathways. So you might start with one location that you'll start with, but from there it would branch out and you're given choices, whether that's 2 choices or 3 choices, and each time you go to a new location, there are new branches from there. Now, most adventures are a combination of the sandbox adventure, the linear adventure, and the point crawl adventure. None of these adventure types are bad in any way. They are simply tools that you can utilize given the kind of adventure you're trying to run. So there's nothing intrinsically bad about any of them, or necessarily good. Okay, all right, but they have a tool purpose. Now, location-based adventures. So this is a location-based adventure that we're talking about, and this tends to be some of the very early Dungeons and Dragons modules that you might have come across in the past. Okay, they work a very particular way. Their way of operating is very, very simple. You base your adventure around the location. Okay, you don't have a set plot. You don't have set events that will take place in a particular order. Instead, the location-based adventure is where the environment has a villain or a potential conflict or threat that the player characters can interact with. Now, whether that is to overcome the villain or the threat or the conflict, or whether that is just to simply interact or become part of it in some way, which there are many different ways it could happen, that's what you're trying to do. It is quite normal practice for a location-based adventure to have a single overall goal for a location-based adventure. There's usually, normal practice, you would have at least some goal. That means, now the reason for doing that is to ensure that there is some reason for doing something in that location. And by giving a goal, you do, by the very nature of having a goal, create plot. Now the plot is not set out though. The plot will be created by the people playing through the location-based adventure. It is not created by the game master or the dungeon master. But you must have a goal for a location-based adventure. Then we have the event-based adventure. Often it has a set out flowchart sort of look with branching options. Now you'll have a starting point, and as I said, you will branch out from there. In some cases there will not be choices, in some cases there will be choices. It depends on what needs to happen next, because event-based adventures are about events, they aren't about locations. The best types of adventures that are event-based have multiple branches rather than having a single choice that must be made to take you from point A to point B. The event-based adventure have a very strong underlying plot, a central plot, and they will have additional subplots to them quite often. The time frames are important for an event-based adventure, and they need to be plotted out and mapped out for each adventure, because things will occur even if the players are not in a particular place doing a certain thing at a certain time. So you need to keep track of time. Time frames are very important for that type of adventure. Okay, so that is the different types of adventures. But we can actually send our players off on different types of quests. These are the sorts of stories or goals in many respects. When we say quest, we really mean goal. We could say story, we could say adventure, we could say hook, adventure hook. Essentially, they are all broken up into roughly 8 different types. And so what do they look like? We have the fetch quest. This is when the characters have to get something from another location that is potentially a long distance away, not always, and bring it back. You're fetching it. Like a dog goes and gets a bone or a stick that you throw, or a ball that you throw. Now, a good example of the fetch quest is Avengers Endgame, where they have to collect up all the Infinity Stones going through time. They collect them all up and they put them into a gauntlet. That is a fetch quest. Okay. Then we have the delivery quest. This is when the characters are in possession of an object, a person, or a piece of information, and they must deliver it to a specific location. Now, a good example of the delivery quest is Lord of the Rings, where Frodo has to deliver the one ring to Mount Doom to destroy it. It's a delivery quest. You're taking it from one place to another. Okay. It also has another type of quest tied up into it, but basically it is a delivery quest. We also have the protection quest. This is when the characters escort a person or people safely to a secondary location potentially, or they just simply have to protect one individual or many individuals in their current location. Now, protection quests can also involve protecting something that isn't a living organism. It could be protecting an object or even a piece of information if you wanted to. Good examples of the protection quest is the Bodyguard movie with Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston, and basically Kevin Costner's character is protecting Whitney Houston from somebody who is threatening to kill her. Okay, these protection. You're protecting one individual. Another example is the movie The Seven Samurai. Now, The Seven Samurai has 7 samurai who are protecting an entire village from bandits that are trying to hurt them and take what they have. So that's, again, a different type of protection quest. We're dealing with more people, more individuals, rather than just one. And that is at a set location. Okay, next, the destroy quest or kill quest. And in many cases, you could probably dissect the destroy quest and the kill quest and make them separate categories, but I'm not doing that for this purpose. This is when your characters are required to go on some sort of monster hunt, okay, where they have to kill a monster, vanquish or destroy or kill a main villain, or they have to break an object or something in the environment. Okay, it's very, very simple. You're either destroying something or you're killing something. And a good example of the destroy quest and the kill quest is Star Wars, the movie Star Wars, where you're destroying something. What are you destroying? You're destroying the Death Star before it can wipe out or dominate the galaxy. Okay, or a kill quest would be trying to kill the Dark Emperor, Emperor Palpatine, or taking out Darth Vader. Okay, these would also be examples of kill quests. Okay, next, the investigation quest. So this is when you get your characters to go and find new information to investigate a murder or a mystery, solve a crime, or solve a problem. Now, the best example of the investigation quest is something like Sherlock Holmes, where Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes collect up information that they see on at a site or at a location and solve either a crime that's involving murder or something that's strange that's taken place. Okay, they are collecting information, they're making deductions, and finding out the root cause of what took place here. That's the investigation quest. We also have the negotiation quest. This requires the characters to deceive or persuade someone. That involves some sort of diplomacy, subterfuge, or perhaps even trade. So negotiation, a good example of negotiation is Star Trek. Star Trek, where really you don't go like Star Wars and blow your aliens out of the sky. No, more you're going to be going and talking with them, trading with them, coming to some sort of mutually satisfying conclusion. So negotiation is certainly part of that. And Star Trek's a good example of this. Survival quests. This is where we force the characters into a dangerous situation and they have to get out of that situation. It might be a natural disaster, they might be being hunted, they might have an army on a warpath after them, they might be in a prison. But whatever you're trying to do, they're trying to survive, they're trying to continue to live. And good examples of this is the Terminator movie, where Sarah Connor and Reese are being chased by a robot that's trying to kill Sarah Connor, and the idea is to survive, okay? Continue, live. Or the Alien movie, where Ripley and the crew are trying to survive basically an alien creature, a xenomorph, who has hatched out and is wiping out the crew. Okay, it is killing them, it is not eating them, it is just destroying them. So it's really about trying to survive that experience. The last one is the attainment quest. Okay, now the attainment quest has similarities to the fetch quest. This is where the characters have to seek a treasure, like an object or a person, but other things can be included. So when I say attainment, you might be attaining something like political power or political position or a piece of land or acquiring a castle or a structure. And so attainment quests, unlike a fetch quest is when you're fetching something for somebody else. An attainment quest is when the characters are trying to gain something for themselves. Okay. Now, good examples of this is Moana. Now, Moana is trying to find a green gem or stone that has to go back into a mountainside to stop the world from going dark, or the seas turning to blackness. Okay. Whereas Finding Nemo is another example of this, where the father fish has lost the little sunfish and has to explore the ocean and try to reattain his son, find him, okay, and they can sort of live happily ever after that. So that's the attainment quest. So it's only very slight differences between the attainment quest and the fetch quest. The fetch quest is about fetching something or getting something for somebody else. The attainment quest is about getting something for the player characters. Okay, that is how our quests look. But that hasn't really answered the process of writing down your adventure. I wanted to make this really simple. I try to make this very simple every time I run it. So this is my suggestion to you. The best approach for making your own adventure, and I do not talk about publishing adventures. This live stream is not designed to teach you how to publish an adventure. Okay, I'm not the person to talk about with regard to publishing. But when it comes to just doing your own adventures, that's very different. Now, this idea that I'm putting forward is presented by Chris Perkins, not by myself originally. Okay, it is not my idea. It is actually Chris. He wrote an article on it many years ago, and this is an approach that I have continued to use going forward for many years, and I've found it to be very useful. Write all your adventure notes on a single piece of A4 page paper. So A4 page is all you need. You're not going to be using any more. You need to be able to condense it down to that. You're going to need 7 different headings, and you're going to use bullet points beside each one of those headings, okay? Or at least number it. The first thing you need is an adventure title or a designation to differentiate this session notes from the last session notes that you ran. An adventure title is nice and easy. If you're starting from fresh and you're starting from the beginning, come up with an adventure title that helps to differentiate this particular adventure from all the other adventures you're going to be writing and running. Next, you need your adventure hook. Now, when I say adventure hook, I mean goal, the thing that the players need to try to achieve. No matter what type of adventure it is, whether it be an event-based adventure or a location-based adventure, there must always be a goal, okay? Now, if you're not using an adventure hook or a goal and you're already running an existing adventure, you might have an adventure recap. Basically, what happened last time and what the current goals and potential hooks or pathways that they could take from this point on. You're only going to use about 3 or 4 sentences. The adventure goals, you can pull those for various books. I would say the Game Mastery Guide for Pathfinder First Edition is pretty good at doing that sort of thing. You can also check out the Dungeon Master Guide for D&D 5e, but you'll also find various other books for different systems that have this sort of thing. It is very common for a Game Master book or a Dungeon Master book to always have a selection of ideas for building your own adventure hooks, usually with a table of some kind. You need to have a list of your player characters. Okay, so the actual people who are most important, the characters who are most important in the adventure are the people playing the characters, your players. So you need to put down what is the name of their character. It would be a good idea to take a note of what class they are. If they have a race or species, then writing that down would be useful. A flaw if they have a flaw. And a goal. What is their goal? They will probably tell you what their goal is. Now, the goal might be ultimately the same goal as everybody else, but there might be a different reason to get to that goal. And you're trying to do that in one sentence. So you need to keep everything very, very short. Use a shorthand of some kind. This reminds you as the game master who the important characters are in the adventure. You never need to, don't lose sight of the fact that they are the ones that are the most important. The second most important one is the villain and the other characters that you have in your adventure. Okay, next, create some adventure locations. Now, why do I say create some adventure locations? I would say 5 in total is a good idea, but the reason for actually selecting and putting together adventure locations, you don't want them to necessarily be too far apart, but you do not want to get lost in the weeds, particularly if you're trying to do an event-based adventure. What I give you here is a structure for building a location-based adventure, because you can overlay events over a location-based adventure. Okay? An event-based adventure, if all you try to do is have events that you will take place, and that's all you have, it's very easy for that to be derailed or fall apart when you're running that adventure. But a location-based adventure, when there are set locations that you can explore and go to, that is much easier to keep intact. Okay, so that's why I'm always saying stick with the location. 5 different locations. A town, a city, or tavern. Ultimately, these are things we quite often use, but what I really mean is a starting location. Where is the adventure going to start? What you need for your location is this information. The name of the location. The basic description. That's it. 1 sentence should do it. Are you dealing with a dungeon? Is it on a different plane of existence? Are you dealing with an urban location? Are you dealing with water? Okay. Are you dealing with a wilderness location? There are lots of toolboxes that you can grab from various Game Master books and Dungeon Master guides if you need this sort of thing. Okay. I would suggest pre-made maps are really good, and also using like real historical locations as inspiration for your locations. You can actually just take in a map that somebody has made of some historical location, and that is your adventure location, and you just break it up into 5 parts. That will, of course, probably be a separate page from your main adventure that you're writing out. So that'll be the second page. Now, I said there was only going to be 1 page, but yes, the map is basically your separate page, your second page. Next, make a list of 5 non-player characters. You need to have a name for those characters. You need basic description, personality, and a motivation. If you break it down to just that, those are the absolute essentials in terms of what you require. If you got those, you've got enough to get by. Now, the different types of non-player characters that you might need to create is if you have a villain, you need to create a villain. If you have a patron or a quest giver, then create that NPC or non-player character. If you have a victim who's part of some sort of crime, have that victim character ready to go. And then we have the helper. The helper is the individual that will guide the player characters when they get lost or need help. Now you can replace the helper with a mentor. Now a mentor is just an individual who will continue to be used throughout future adventures. Now you might not necessarily have a helper that is a mentor. It might be just a mentor, it might be just a helper. Helpers can sometimes become mentors if they live long enough, okay? And then you have the rest of the cast, the rest of the extras. Anything extra is stuff that you will use on the fly and put into your adventure when you need to, okay? Now, if you need information on how to build that sort of thing, your NPCs, I've done a lot of live streams on this topic. There are lots of Game Master Guide books that give you all sorts of information on this. Dungeon Master Guides out there that do all this. There are specific books that have just built to give you NPCs. Okay, if you want that sort of thing, it's out there. Or you can simply make your own, and I would suggest you can make your own. Next, create different encounters for those locations. It is always wise, I would say, to have 5 to 6 different encounters. I don't mean combat encounters. You don't need to worry about them. Don't bother with random encounters. Okay, I'm not saying you can't use random encounters, but you don't necessarily have to build those. Those can be done very easily. Okay, you can do most of that on the fly. You do not have to necessarily build them. What I'm saying here in terms of your encounters is each encounter is probably going to be connected and tied to a location for your adventure. If you connect your encounters to the locations, it makes it very easy to structure it. So you can focus on encounters such as combat encounters, a social interaction such as a dialogue between the player characters and the NPCs or non-player characters. Just exploring the location, it can be an encounter of some kind. If you're dealing with a maze, that would be a good example of exploration. Traps are a type of encounter. Puzzles, something that they have to solve. Skill challenges or adventure challenges of some kind, where there's some sort of action scene taking place. These can all be encounters. And I would recommend many, many different books. The ones that I'm going to say I think that you're probably going to find most useful in this case is the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters and Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters for puzzles, and then the Game Mastery Guide for Pathfinder First Ed Edition. But if you're not using those systems, there are plenty of system agnostic things out there. Okay. The last thing, and that is you need to set rewards for the completion of your adventure. The player characters, it's great to be able to finish your adventure, finish the story, whatever you want to call it, complete the goal, but they want something out of it. Now that could be character advancement, like they get experience points or they gain a new level. It might be magic items, it could be political power, it could be treasure, okay? Some sort of thing that they can use. It might be money. It might be a non-player character relationship that has become stronger and more useful to them. That pushes the story forward, pushes your adventure forward, or just helps bring all the players together and feel like they're part of the world that you're playing in. Okay, so that is the process of actually building your adventure. Seems pretty simple, right? Okay, every time I run this program, I always like to go over some miscellaneous recommendations, and so I'm going to do that right now. Please don't spend all your time developing one concept in your adventure. You need to get it done. You do not have hours and hours at your disposal. Your time is valuable, so you need to get this done. So get it down, okay? Work through the process, jot things down. Some ideas will be better than others. It's all right if you have bad ideas or not very good ideas or other ideas that are better, okay? Just get it down. Next, stop sweating the creative ideas in your adventure. You don't have to be original. It's very difficult to be original. Pretty much everything that you could imagine has always been done at some point. You may not have encountered it, but it's been done by somebody else. All you're doing is repurposing what is already floating out there in the ether, in the universal collective cognitive mind. Okay? So don't worry about the creative ideas. The only thing that matters is it interesting to you? Okay? And will the people who are playing in your game, who are playing a character, find it fun to play with? That's the only thing that matters. As long as you've got that, that's all that matters. Okay. Well, that is all I have for today. And I'm hoping this was useful to you, and if it was, great. I want to thank all of my patrons who support me so I can keep running this program. I run this program every 2 months or 2.5 months. We come back to adventure building and we build another adventure. So thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to my patrons. All the best with your adventure creation. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. And that is that. Okay, so we've covered the basic structure and process of building an adventure. Now we've got a few people here. Now I can see there are already ideas floating out there. Now for those of you who saw the thumbnail for this live stream, you'll notice that I had Die Hard up there. There's a good reason for doing this. Okay, many people view Die Hard as a Christmas story. But what is great about the movie Die Hard, the original Die Hard movie, in terms of adventure, and this is what we're dealing with here, is it's a location-based adventure. It's set in one location. It's set in a skyscraper, in a tower, which means it makes it very easy for us to take that and turn that into a fantasy adventure or a science fiction adventure, whatever you want to do, and turn that into a Christmas-themed adventure. You know where we're going with this, okay? We're going to make a Die Hard adventure because it would be fun. It's got exactly the sorts of things that we need to encourage our players to engage in it. We force them into the situation so they cannot walk away from it. It's one of the great things about creating an adventure based off the Die Hard movie is they will not be given an opportunity to walk away from the adventure. They will be thrown into the action. And getting thrown into the action is media res. Media res is a great tool, okay? It forces them to actually do something. That's what we want them to do. So let's just have a look and see what people are saying here in chat. And then I've got a document that I've started briefly. I haven't done all the work. You guys are going to have to do a lot of the work here. Hopefully you've got lots of ideas. I'm sure many of you remember that movie fondly, or maybe not. And we'll be able to come up with some ideas to go with this. Now I see Fred Huber is already coming up with all sorts of different ideas for an adventure. But I've always found that if I go down this track with people, we wind up trying to build an event-based adventure, which is the hardest and the worst type of adventure to build. Do you know why? Because it's easily derailed. It is usually better suited to a specific group rather than to a general group. And when we're building these adventures and these live streams, I'm always trying to get things done so that would be useful to a number of people rather than just one people. There is a reason why original Dungeons and Dragons modules, Gary Gygax made event-based adventures. Even Ravenloft is an event-based adventure. It's still an event-based adventure. Okay. Now, I know for those of you who have just heard me say that and that scared you off and say, well, I don't want to know about that because it's not going to be an event-based adventure. It's got no story. It's not true. Location-based adventures do have story. But you as a game master need to give up control of that because you are not making that story plot. The players will do that. Okay? Okay. All right. Let's have a look here. Good relations with department, taking credit for all of the gifts are done. Yes. Also known as Bitten Fruit Corp. I don't know what we're telling you. Fred, what are we talking about there? Santa Claus is a paladin and he is slaying a reindeer and magical. So there's a few ideas people have thrown out here. Really? Paladin on a reindeer. Magical mount. His vehicle. I suppose you could say that is true. A doppelganger has taken Santa's place and has put his toy building tinker gnome to building weapons, okay, and selling them at the highest bidder. There's some very scary ideas here. Santa is actually the Grinch in disguise. You should be happy to be socks. Okay. Okay, you guys are making me laugh. So let me just get you started so that you can see what I've been up to before we get started. I want to at least show you what I have for you, and then you can build from there. I can see that this is going to be a very interesting process. We might go backwards today. I don't normally go backwards with adventure creation, but this is what I have for you. Christmas hostage adventure exercise. Now you'll notice I've already written out the adventure hook. So what I've done is I've taken the story of Die Hard, the movie, with John McClane, and I've simplified it. And let me read it to you. During a Christmas party hosted in a newly constructed wizard tower, the party of characters witness a large group of terrorists or thieves taking the partygoers hostage. Okay. The changeling assailants take control of the wizard tower and attempt to break into the building's magic vault and steal the hoard of magical artifacts stored inside. Seems similar, does it not? The hostages are threatened with death if they do not cooperate. The party of characters have no choice but to stay hidden and quietly dispatch the terrorists while rescuing the captive hostages, which include their family members. We have stuck their family members into this party because that's what John McClane had to deal with. John McClane had to deal with rescuing his wife. We want to force each of our players to have to try to rescue one of their family members. We now have them. They are hooked. They are stuck. They cannot escape easily. And even if they did, they risk losing their family. So, we've got them. It is rife for chaos. Now, there's a little note in here because we want to stay true to what's going on here. This is the Game Master note. This is not what you would be reading out to your players. And in fact, I might just remove the word changeling. Now, the reason I've selected changelings for this adventure is because changelings can fit anywhere. Why changelings? Because no matter what adventure you're playing, what world you're playing in, your changelings can appear as something that will fit in with the party in the wizard tower. That's the whole point. So whether you're dealing with robots in the future, whether you're dealing with elves, whether you're dealing with orcs, whatever creature you're dealing with, if you're dealing with aliens, it does not matter. They're changelings. They can appear as anybody to fit in with the party members, the party goers. Okay, so that's why we're doing this. So let's then let's just put this here. The assailants are changelings. Okay, so let's do that, and we've got to put this, the assailant. We'll get rid of the word changeling here. That will not be the one piece that you want to read out, but this is all we need to know. This is our first sentence we can easily read to our player characters, and they've got a basic idea of what's going on. Okay. Now, what I've also done is I've broken up the tower into different locations, which doesn't mean you can't add new locations to it. Let's just remember we don't want to get too carried away about how much is going on. Okay, so this is what I've done. This is what I've started with to get things moving. So we're going to deal with the title of our adventure after. We'll do that last. We have our adventure hook, goal, or recap. This is it here. This is our information. We're going to put in the player characters' names, but we're not necessarily going to do that right now. We will. I certainly am eager to do so. And I think maybe the best way to do this is I'm going to go use the toilet, come back, and I'm going to put in a prompt and get you guys to come up with something. I've already created different locations for our wizard tower. There is an elevator. Obviously, we need to have an elevator. It's Die Hard. We have a lobby area. We have a mezzanine floor. We have a workshop. We have a laboratory. We have a zoo. We have a greenhouse. We have a library. We have a museum. We have a teleportation chamber. We have an observatory. And we could have something else. We could have a living space, or like a gallery, I suppose, or a lounge. We could certainly have a lounge as part of our level as well. Any of that stuff. I've created a name, Snatch. I thought the name Snatch was fitting for Hans Gruber, frankly. We do not need to stay with that name. We've got to do some encounters and we're going to do some rewards. So that is what I've got here, okay? And I'm going to muck around with things and move things around as need be so that we get this adventure done. So that is the adventure that we have. This is the concept behind it, and we're going to see how this works out. And yes, we are copying somebody else's idea. For those of you who are thinking, Fred, that seems like we are copying somebody else's idea. Of course we're copying somebody else's idea. Does that mean it will be a bad idea? No, it could well be a very good idea. So let me just plop this in. I'm going to have to break this up a bit. So just give me a second and I'll see if I can cut that into pieces. Let's do the first half. I think the first half will fit. And then I'll put in the second half. So, hashtag adventure goal. And we'll do this. And let me just chuck this in here. That's not going to work, so maybe I plug it in bits. Yeah, maybe I do. I have to plug it into bits. Sentence by sentence. That way, those of you who jump in and are wondering what's going on will know what's going on. The party goes hostage, so we do this. I'll take hostage. We'll take another sentence. We'll drop this in. I've only got about, there's only a couple of sentences, 4 sentences in total for our adventure goal. It's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. Okay, paste that. And I got 2 more, I believe. Is it 2 more? I think so. Yes, it is. I go copy, I drop this in. I see people are already starting to think about this. That's fine, that's good. And the last bit, okay, is right here. But yes, we are certainly wanting our baddies to blow up the wizard tower because that would make a lot more excitement for us. Okay, so this is what we have. So this is what I want you to start with. Okay, we're gonna work slow. So hashtag what are the player characters names, class, race, flaws, and motive. That is my prompt to you. Okay, well let's start with that. And I'll come back. I'll go use the toilet. I'll let Arnold look after you. And then we'll get started. We'll make this happen. 5 minutes or less. Okay, all right. Back into the seat. Let's have a look and see what we've got here. This is going to be interesting. Okay, nope. There we go. All right, let's have a look and see what ideas you have come up with. Now, I'm going to jump back and forth from my face cam to the actual document, the Google Doc I'm working on, but I'm not going to have the Google Doc up all the time, just because the text on my phone is simply too small to read without me having to constantly take my glasses on and off. It's just going to make a bit of a pain. Let's have a look and see what you guys have come up with. Hashtag. We need probably 5 or 6 characters to sort of work with. So let's start off with random PC. I set off the explosives before the doppelgangers can get away winning. All right, whatever. Why are we... Thank you, Fred. Hello, Negative Space. Why are we figuring out the player characters? We always start with the player characters. You remember I said your adventure is revolving around your players and your player characters. So that is why we do that. Okay, we have to remember that they are important. So that's why we have them there. This is an exercise in building an adventure. Now, you would not necessarily have this in a published adventure. But for you, you're doing this for your own group. So you must make sure you stay focused on the fact that you have player characters at the table. Are we pretending there are player characters and how we would build the adventure around that? That's exactly right. You're going to come up with the player characters and we're going to use that and we build our adventure to that. We still have a premise. I've just explained what that is. I've just written down. We're basically doing Die Hard, the movie. Okay. If it was upside down tower on the roof of a cavern, the explosives would be put at the top and dislodge the tower, making everyone fall to their doom. Okay, all right. Player character. Rider. Here we go. Half elf, rogue, thief, greedy, wants to save his auntie, so she will leave him. Okay, all right. Yeah, he's a greedy one. Okay, so that's exactly. So Pale Rider, thank you for doing that. That is exactly what I was looking for. This is our step, is we make sure that we have the things that make our character important. Okay, we have them there, we have them part of it. Okay, otherwise it doesn't work very well. So rider, halfling elf, thief greedy, wants to save auntie. Save auntie to get wealthy. There we go. So that's our note for it. Done. Well done. Awesome. I will show you this, people. Don't just bear with me. PC, Gilbert, gnome, wizard, really just wants to swipe the loot after the doppelgangers open the vault. Fair enough. So let's put this in here. So he's got a bit of a naughty side to him. And we will, again, just structure that so that it reads, swipe the loot. Wants... So he wants loot after the doppelgangers open the vault. There we go. Why is it not doppelgangers? It's not coming up as an actual word. It is not a word. Sort of changelings, that'll do. Changelings. Okay. Right, so we have 2 characters. So we need 3 more. Okay, there could be someone who wants who thinks they're highly unpaid and don't mind swiping some of the treasure for themselves. Okay, all right. Pale Rider's got another NPC. This is exactly what these are the sorts of notes that you should be taking as a game master when you're doing your adventure. This is the information you need. Okay, so that is number 3. Let's do this one. This is Jean, the fighter human. So let's go here. Pick a floor. Well, if you haven't stated what the floor is, I'm assuming that he doesn't have a floor. Is it pick a floor as in he's got many floors? I think that's what you mean here. Okay. Pick a floor and redemption. Motivation, redemption for past mistakes. Perfect. There we go. All right. And redemption. Okay, so that's good. So that makes 3. We just need 2 more, and we have a whole party. Maybe there is someone suspicious because why would the wizards care about anyone and give them a Christmas party? I mean, you can view it that way, but I would argue that wizards don't necessarily hate everybody. And why would wizards not have a Christmas party like anybody else? Maybe a wizard apprentice who is only around to learn the wizard's powerful spells. When he hears the vault could be opened once, get the high level spells out. Okay. All right. So let's. So apprentice, wizard. Okay, we've got that. We've got apprentice wizard. We don't have a name. You haven't given me a name for this apprentice. I would like a name. It would be good if you could do that. And we don't know necessarily if they're human or anything like that, but we could do with some of that stuff. There's a lot missing from that character. Okay. Next. Here we go. Pale Riders on the ball. Here we go. So we've got PC. January. Former stripper turned ranger, elf, narcissist, wants to be a hero. Okay, there we go. There we go. Paranoid. Floor, paranoid. Okay. I will add that in. Okay, so January, former stripper turned elf, ranger elf, narcissist, wants to be a hero. So we've got one sentence that does all of what we need. Our floor, you've given me a floor, so we'll put it in, paranoid. You want to play the doppelganger. Come on, people, come on. Try not to turn to the dark side quite so quickly. Paranoid. Okay, so let me show you what we've done from that structure. This is the first bit. This is the thing that I keep talking about. Like, you know, if we're going to do this sort of stuff, we've got to build certain parts of the adventure. All right, so the first part of this whole process looks like this. Geez, what is that? Is that a window crashing and bashing? It might well be. Hopefully it's not mine. Okay, so Christmas hostage adventure. We've got our adventure hook and recap, or adventure hook or goal. And then we've got a few notes. We've got our characters determined, so we know who's going to be here. Okay. I'm not keen on putting in something that is a poison pill, because remember, when you build your adventure, if all your characters are going to wind up doing is becoming the villains and siding with those people who are ripping off the wizard tower, you kind of lost people. Yeah. You're dealing with the instigator, you're dealing with the asshole, you're dealing with... So that it's not a good character to play with others. So I would not encourage it. I would encourage them to build something else if that's what they're trying to do. Okay. So Gilbert is not a great character to include in something like this. Next, we have adventure locations. As I said, they don't have to stay this way. They could be different. We could do something differently with that. And I think that is probably our next point that we need to go to, is actually build some locations. And I want you to do that. So our first question is all about, what's the name of the wizard tower? Hashtag. What is the name of the wizard tower? What locations are in the tower? Those are the two questions. Yes, you're messing with the DM when you start doing that sort of thing, for sure. So I want you to have a think about that. come up with some ideas. What's the name of the wizard tower? What are the locations in the wizard tower? Are the ones that I have suggested the ones that you like, or do you think there's something else that would be more appropriate? Do we want to give those those locations a specific name, or what I've put down all right? So think about that first, and then we'll move on from there. Now I just want to go back and see, because I know you guys had a lot of stuff in here that you pumped in. I see a few people that I missed. Overboard, thank you for being here. He's a moderator. Thank you for showing up. How's it going? Location, a place that has an unfinished add-on. So the renovation level, a palace that has an unfinished add-on. That's actually not a bad idea to include in locations. A renovated level under renovations, basically. That's what we're really talking about. Let's put that in. Renovated level. This floor is still under construction and full of materials, of building materials and tools. Okay, renovated level. All right, so I've got that. What else have I got here? 35 years anniversary showing off in the theatres. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's an old movie for sure, but it makes a great adventure because we can narrow them down to one location and we can force them to be involved, you know? Real heroes don't need rewards. I think you'll find that your players will need some sort of reward. A demon that can only be harmed by truth. I'm going to pull your idea, a demon who can only be harmed by truth. And I might just dump that into the encounter section, but we might come back to that. See how that goes. I'm thinking of variations on the South Park Christmas episode turning into an adventure. Yeah, you could do that. More things people don't think about in games, like not going to the bathroom. Horses don't wipe. No, neither do centaurs. Yes, well, you know, you're going to get that sort of thing from me. Bad guy has rigged the tower with many explosive glyphs. Absolutely. This is certainly something we want to consider. Rigging the tower with explosives. That's definitely part of it. We'll do that. We're going to take that and we'll cut that and put that in there. I'm ready to go with that. Maybe instead of a skyscraper, an underground tower. Yeah, or we could just make it a tower, like any tower. What about a tower hanging from the roof of a giant cabin? Yes, you could do that. There could be windows instead of falling to the ground. Okay, yep, I got that. Maybe someone surrounding their fireplace with teleportation glyphs and teleporting Santa into the dungeon surrounded by magical circle, trapping him. We're kind of gone off on a tangent here. Someone has replaced Santa and doppelgangers of putting magic items in the stockings, which turn kids into evil elves. Okay, we've got a lot of ideas been floating around. The PCs are restricted to a dagger or similar small item. Yeah, well, you could. I always find that restricting players when they're in an adventure does not go well. Gandalf Gone Wild. Really? You want that as a title? I will grab Gandalf Gone Wild. I do not think that is going to stick as a name. One, because it's got IP attached to it. And two, it's probably not going to make an awful lot of sense given what we're doing here today. But we'll see. We'll see. And bold, and there we go. And I'll just add that to my list of various names. How do we get a party to fight doppelgangers if the doppelgangers has frozen time, and how do they fight? Well, I mean, the idea is not to set up parameters and restrictions that stop them being able to do something. Can I suggest a wizard's palace for more area stuff to hide and evade? Well, I mean, whether it's a palace or a tower, it doesn't really matter. The idea of it being a tower is there's levels, so there's not too many places you can go. We can have a tunnel system within a tower. We can have what do you call it, a duct system through a tower. We can have an elevator system in a tower. There's plenty of places to get from one level to another without being seen. So let's assume that there is a duct system. Okay, so if we're worried about that as being a restriction on their ability to move from one level to another, there is a medium-sized duct system throughout the tower allowing access to all levels. Okay, we've eliminated our problem that you're worried about of them not being able to get around without being seen. But whether you make it a tower or a palace, maybe this idea won't work if we have a figure out the center space-time continuum. Well, we could have Santa as a character in here. Like, we haven't done NPCs, so that's not a problem. We'll get to that, don't worry. Yeah, the Wizard's Tower can have shafts. Exactly. Magical elevators, air ducts, things like that. Just like a skyscraper. Exactly. Goal. Teach the doppelgangers to be nice. And there can be higher rooms than the others, which span several floors, with the adjoining rooms being shorter. Yes, they certainly could. And PC, no, we've already done that. I think I've got past all this. This is my mark here. And so we are now on to locations. So you guys have given me a bunch of locations. I'm going to take those locations. I'm going to port them into here so you can see them. And then we're going to work on our next thing. Now, it seems clear to me that we want to have Santa here. Okay. So Santa, I've put Santa down as an NPC. We'll deal with the NPCs right now, because I feel like you guys are on that road right now. So hashtag, what are the non-player characters in the adventure or tower? Okay, now what do we need? We need a name, motive, personality, appearance. Yep, that'll do. Okay, so let's see how you do. You come up with some ideas, and I will plant your location ideas straight across. Elminster's elevated enclave. Okay, all right. That's another IP thing going on there, I see. But we will drop it into the location area. Location. There we go. A wizard organization. I think we know what that is. American English, no, thank you. There we go. Right, so I've got Fred's idea. Grand, multi-level lobby with balconies and stairs. Okay, I like that. That's a good idea. Multi-level lobby. We could do that. Let's go copy. And I'll stick it under the lobby area. I've just gone with a general sort of lobby area, but you've got the grand. Paste. What have I done here? Have I made a mistake? That's better. Grand. Multi-level lobby with balconies and stairs. Lots of opportunities for doing all sorts of silly things. Great, got it. PC, Jax. All right, we got another PC. This is one of the player characters. We'll grab this here. Jax, human assassin. Motivation is here to protect his niece. There was a possible threat to her. She doesn't know him. Right. There we go. So we can put that under our player characters. We now have a few more. And that is, yeah. So when we encourage our players to have characters, building their characters to an adventure, the idea is that they build the character to the adventure, okay? You give them the premise and they build a character to the adventure rather than try to undermine it. If they're doing that, then you've got problems. Name the Aurora's tier. I think that's a good idea. The tower could be the Aurora's tier. Why not? Sounds good to me. I'm all for it. Let's go to our location. Paste. Under here, Aurora's tier. The Wizard Tower. Aurora's tier. And then we broke it up into pieces after that. Lab, animal storage, experimentation. Yes, okay, animal storage and experimentation area. So I think we need to add those. I think that's what you're trying to do here. So let's do that now. We've got a laboratory, I'm pretty sure. So we'll add this in. I've got here a room with equipment for making potions and chemicals. We will add in your suggestion, which is animal storage and experimental area. Experimental and experimental area. Okay, now let's go down to our next thing. You've got bathroom, you've got a ballroom and kitchen. Okay, so we can certainly have a ballroom. A ballroom actually makes a lot of sense. If you're having a party, you probably want to have a ballroom. Why not? Absolutely, let's do that. Let's go with putting the ballroom a little bit lower. Ballroom, place a large chamber for dancing with alcoves for eating and conversation. Okay, and we make a separate level for your kitchen. Since we have a kitchen here, we will do the kitchen. Kitchen would probably be closer, so we'll put kitchen in here. A series of rooms with pantries, storage, food storage probably, food storage, pantries, food storage, food storage. Let's go cold food storage, and multiple kitchens. All right, I've got that down. All right, so we can do something in the kitchen if we want to. I was on a different tangent because I thought we were... Yeah, no, it's all right, negative space, I understand. It's cool. Just with these live streams when we're doing adventures, I try to focus everybody into one place. Otherwise, it just sort of turns into a big, huge mess. Area, dangerous monster holding rooms. So we actually have a zoo. And I have said for the zoo, this is what I put down for the zoo. A room full of cages with strange creatures that are deformed. Okay, so strange creatures and monsters. Monsters that are deformed. We want this because this is what wizards do, right? As they get up to mischief. So I've got that. Spell casting. Whoops, too far. Spell casting and summoning room. So we want a summoning or spell casting room. Let's just put in that. That's fine. Let's add that in. I'm happy with that. Let's make that work. Let us put this somewhere fairly high on our level. We have rather a lot of levels here. So let's just call this the magic room, magic chamber, and It is spell casting a summoning room with arcane gear. There we go. There we go. Summoning room. Done that. So teleportation circles all over the tower that go. Well, you can do that, but we do have a teleportation chamber already. I did actually add one in. We also have a portal. I think I included. No, we didn't put a portal. We've got a teleportation chamber with teleportation circle for traveling quickly. So there is one there. Okay. All right. So we've got that. So what are the non-player characters? You guys are working on the non-player characters. I can see you've got some. You guys are still coming up with ideas. Let's go for NPCs. If we really want to do areas, we're going to be here a long time, and we haven't actually worked on the encounters. The encounters need to be tied to a location, and so that would be a good thing to work with next. So let me at least share what I've got written down so far, so you've got a better idea of what we have. Okay, this is just a quick update. This is our adventure goal, and scrolling down, we've added a new character, Jax. We've got locations that you have suggested. I've made some adjustments to the locations. I've added in some of the things that you've suggested. They're here. I'll add in a few more if I need to. That's fine too. We're dealing with NPCs. This is what we're supposed to be dealing with now. So hopefully people are. And I'll just make sure I'm updating my phone so I can see the chat's still moving. Okay, it's not helping me. Anyway, so that's what we've got so far, right? We need some more NPCs. So NPC information is what we're after now. Okay, let's do that. Because I want to move on to the actual encounters. That's where the meat and potatoes is, right? That's where we really need to have that there. Santa is the evil doppelganger leader. Santa could be. Santa, absolutely, we could make Santa the evil doppelganger. Yeah, why not? It'd be fun. So let me put that in. Fred, let's go with Santa is the evil changeling leader trying to raid the magic vault. I have included as a location the magic vault, of course. All right, so that's that one. We've got this. So we've got your idea. You've got an area, apprentice, sleeping quarters, and common rooms. Yes, we can have that. I don't know how interesting that is, but yeah, I kind of left that sort of stuff, and I went larger scope, and I was thinking, we've got the lobby, we've got the men's in floor. Those are fairly boring ideas. We had a workshop area for a room for manufacturing and repairing stuff. Laboratory, which we've now been included. Somebody suggested that. We've got a zoo area for all of the deformed creatures these wizards have been making. We've got a greenhouse, a biosphere for planting. Those of you who remember, we did the Mage Tower a couple of days ago. A lot of these ideas have been ported across. We've got a library area for books and scrolls. We've got a museum area for trophies, collectibles, and artifacts. Got a teleportation chamber, we've got a magic chamber, and we've got an observatory right on the top with a nice telescope. Yeah, something to do with that. So let's put in your suggestions. Let's go with ballroom, bedroom. It's probably going to be this, isn't it? Let's go with this one here. Paste. Apprentice quarters. Okay. Apprentice quarters. I'll just do that. Quick note. All right. Maybe someone needs a special item or active objects in the tower to teleport to various places. Thieves are trying to do these tasks which allow them to teleport to the treasure room. Possibly. Okay, Mr. Cold Snap, animated snowman trying to trying not to get melted. Fred Huber, I think that's brilliant. I think it's a really good idea. It's very, very clever. Let us put this in. Let us go into Mr. Snap, Mr. Cold Snap. We want an animated snowman. An animated snowman trying not to get melted. Now, NPC Axel the Bard. Motivation, playing music, and pickpocketing the crowd. Personality, roguish, good-looking in a bad boy way. Clever. Clever. Very clever, Pale Rider. Here we go. Let's take Axel, shall we? Put Axel in there. It's all about the NPCs. Axel the Bard. Just call him Axel. He's a bard. We don't even have to put the word motivation. All we need to do is to say playing music and pickpocketing the crowd. He's a rogue. That's all we need in terms of a word. Rogue, good looking in a bad boy way. Right. And a bad boy way. So let's just go here. I think good looking, and we'll just say bad boy. All right, that should be enough for that NPC to get things done. Well done, cool. Let's have a look. What else we got here? Maybe the wizard has dressed up invisible helpers with elf clothes to hang out gifts and charms. Something. Reindeer as a petting zoo for children. Yeah. Area. The place is honeycombed with secret rooms and passageways. I think that is a given. I think we kind of need to have that in terms of the area. It is going to need to be like that. So under location, let's go here, paste. Let's just say honeycombed with secret rooms and passageways. Always going to be a thing for a wizard tower, isn't it? How are we doing with our actual an aviary enclosure observatory on the roof? An aviary enclosure. All right, we've already got the observatory on the roof. We'll put the aviary close by to that. How's that sound? That'll be interesting. Paste. Aviary enclosure full of birds and plants in a large cage. Okay, we've got an avian enclosure. Right, done it. Philip Pine, here we go. A pine Trent that allowed himself to be decorated as a Christmas tree. Clever. I like it. That's good. I think we are pretty close to our NPCs being filled out. I think we're doing quite well, actually. So I'm going to just go here. And I'm going to set you on the next track. I think we need to give you a prompt. I think you're well and truly ready to start building our encounters, and we want to use the locations for our encounters, people. Okay, so hashtag. What encounters do we have in the different locations? Okay, what encounters do we have in the different locations? So that is what we're building next. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown before I get lost, because I will, of what they are. So what those locations are that we currently have that you can work with. Here it is. Just jump over and I'll go through them fairly quickly. We have 22 locations, far more than 5. Okay, it's gotten out of control. We got Elminster's Elevated Enclave. Now, whether that's a level in the tower, a wizard organization, I don't know. We've got Aurora's Tier, which is the wizard tower itself. We have an elevator platform with compartments that moves up and down. There are medium-sized duct systems throughout the tower, allowing access to all the levels. We have a honeycombed secret rooms and passageways just to make secret doors a thing. Okay, that means you could have a room on the same level. It doesn't need to have each level as a different room. You can have you can chart like I said before, with a tower you can have the whole floor be one room in some cases, but in other times you would cut it up like a pie and slice into it, and then that way you would have rooms. Okay, you have your lobby area at the very bottom. We have the multi-level lobby with balconies and staircases. We have a mezzanine floor, which is just an intermediate floor or floors in a building, which are open. It's basically got an opening that allows to see down to the bottom level. Okay, so we can do that. You can have multiple mezzanine floors. That would be the grand, I guess. You have your apprentice sleeping quarters and the common rooms. You have your ballroom, which could be one whole level. You have your kitchens with pantries, cold food storage, multiple kitchens in that area. That might be a whole floor in itself, or might not. It's up to you. A renovated level, a level that is completely open and not finished. And that'll have building materials and tools. We have a workshop in which you would manufacture or repair something that, wizards might be repairing all sorts of things or making all sorts of different things. You have your laboratory. So this is where you have equipment for making potions and chemicals. You might have a bit of animal storage for doing animal experimentation. You have an experimental area. You have a zoo close to this. Maybe this is a whole level. And this room is just made up of cages with strange animals and monsters that are deformed or just really, really dangerous and need to be caged up, otherwise they're going to go eat everybody. We have a greenhouse, biosphere with plants, and they're going to be growing through unnatural means because we don't have necessarily sunlight coming through. We might, you never know. We have a library. This is a room, a collection of books and scrolls where the wizards store their stuff. We have a museum for them collecting any trophies they have, any collectibles or artifacts that they've come across over time, but they're not necessarily magic items as such, people. We have a teleportation chamber for teleporting. That might be a small room rather than a large room. We have a magic chamber. Again, that might be a smaller room rather than the whole level. Might be a smaller room. We have an avian enclosure full of birds and plants in a large cage. Okay, that might be a full level in itself, or maybe half a level, who knows. And then the observatory right on the top, it's probably its own level in itself with our telescope sticking out up at the sky. Okay, for studying the stars, the sky, we need an astronomical telescope. So we've got quite a bit of stuff here. Those are the things. So I want you to think about those locations and what would make an interesting encounter in that location. That's our adventure construction building. Based off the characters that we have, the NPCs that we started off with, what can we do with that? Okay, now one of these levels has got to have our hostages on, because it would be smart if you're going to take over a place to keep all of your hostages on one level rather than have them separated, particularly if you've got a force of individuals who need to keep an eye on them so they don't run away. So it's always best to keep all your hostages on one level. So that's your first question, major question. What level are the hostages being kept on, and where? And that's where the guards will be, right? The bulk of the guards will be right there. Okay, all right, so let's see how we go. I see people have got started already. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Now, normally I would say there's going to be a limit of, say, 5 or 6 encounters, but we've got so many levels. If you guys come up with an idea for every single level, then I'll write them down. That's fine. It makes it quite a lot larger than I was expecting, but that's all good. Remember, it doesn't have to be just about combat. You need to think about all the different things I was talking about before. Okay, all right. Let me just see at the NPCs. Pine area, the vault surrounding the... Now, did I put the vault in? I think I had the vault in here. But did I leave the vault out? I did. I left the vault out. Oh, no, 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 no. We can't be doing that. Okay. Magic vault. Magic vault. The metal room storing all the magic items and wizard's wealth. Okay, all right, I've got that in. We missed that, but I've got it there now. Okay, cool, cool. The vault. NPC, Lily, Matilda, Roy, Angie serves just here, do their job. Ah, I see. This is just so these ideas are for sort of the extras. So what Pale Rider's done is given us extras to deal with. It's a good idea. Yep. Extras are always useful. So that if you run out of NPCs and you need more, you've got a few more floating around. Main villains. Okay, and let's do this. Paste. Lily, Matilda, Roy. So it's just here to do their job. That could be full of information about it. Yes. Yep. I see why you've put that note in there. That makes sense. Allies. Ellie. And then we're going here. Servers just here to do their job. Yep. Yes. Okay. So they're basically party servers. Party servers. Lily, Matilda, Roy, Ellie. Good. Nice. I would have to get in the aunt or niece or whoever to connect to the player's characters. Yeah, possibly. Pink posing as a server, but really a member of the thieves. He's meant to snuff out any potential troublemakers within this. Right. So we have somebody who is hiding amongst the the hostages. Cool. Now you'll notice we have not mentioned anything about the player character's family members because you'll need to sort that out. There's no point us doing that bit. Okay. Good. Nice. That's really good. Awesome. So you guys are starting to come up with some ideas now. Now we're talking. Now we're on to the next step of this. I want to still at least share with you what we have in terms of non-player characters. This is what we have. We have Santa, we have Snatch, we have Mr. Cold Snap, the animated snowman. Santa is our evil villain. Axel is the bard. Okay, he's a pickpocket in the crowd. We have Phil Pine, which is a pine trent that is decorated as a Christmas tree, which is interesting. We've got Peck, and we've got Lily, Matilda, Roy, and Ellie. So those are our NPCs. Okay, now we're on to encounters. And now, while you're doing encounters, I'm going to put down some rewards. So here we go. A milestone for characters. Gain a character level or experience points. However you want to do it, it really doesn't matter. Let's do this. Actually, I might just drop this down. Award a number of experience points. Milestone for the character to gain a character level. Yep. What else? Might be a reward for completing our quest. It might be one or more magic items. We might have improved relationship with the wizards running the tower. Okay, and another pretty obvious one is the characters are given a large sum of money. So, basic rewards, I'm just putting them in here. Okay, let's go back and have a look and see what you guys have been cooking up here. So we need a room with lots of glassware to break to make the heroes walk barefoot in broken glass. Right, okay, so let's deal with your first idea. Let's deal with your first idea. And what have I done here? Have I jumped across too soon? I have. Sorry, people. That was my mistake. Let's do this again. Geez, my phone is just not doing... It's a good thing I'm not tracking everything on the phone, because the phone has just been absolute dynamite. It's been absolutely appallingly bad. Okay, so first off, let us go drop this in here and paste. Now you want to do this. So where can we put our glass? We want broken glass everywhere. I think a good place to do broken glass would be in the laboratory. Here we go. The laboratory has glass, has broken glass, glass all over the tables, chairs and floor, creating difficult terrain, difficult and hazardous terrain. There we go. There you go. You got your broken glass. Done. Encounter. The aviary enclosure has a Gonophinx, very protective of her 3 newborns. That's a good idea, Pale Rider. Let's do this. Let's take that. We can put that in. Sweet. Nice, nice, nice. We'll just drop that in. Aviary enclosure has a newborns. Yes. Now a demon that can be that can only be harmed by truth. A demon. Now we put the demon. I think we put the demon into the magic chamber. A demon trapped in a summoning circle in the magic chamber has a demon that can only be harmed by the truth. Let's go. Trapped in a summoning circle in magic chamber, a demon. Okay, there we go. Rigging the tower with explosives. Okay. The observatory and roof is rigged. Rigged with many explosive glyphs. There we go. Alright, so we've got that done. Nice. How are we doing? Ooh, there's a lot going on here. I can see this is going to be an interesting one. There could be a room that has objects that look like they're elevated, but they're being held up with glass behind a rope off area. The players run through it, they break the glass. Suppose that's true. I think it's probably easier to make the laboratory where the glass is, and the objects fall down the floor covering the glass. So let's expand our laboratory. Additional glass panes. Why can I not pane? No, it's not pane in that sort of pane. Panes and equipment full as players pass through. I think that makes it a bit more dynamic. So it's a good idea. Negative space, that's a very good idea. So we've got that. Release the triffids. So we could put triffids into the greenhouse. Triffids, basically just creatures that are animals, right? So that's plants that are alive. So let's go here. Release the triffids. So a bunch of hungry flesh-eating triffids have been accidentally released in the greenhouse, because we do have a greenhouse, I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. I'm pretty sure under locations we have a greenhouse. Yes, we do. The biosphere greenhouse, exactly. Flesh eating. There we go. Accidentally. Cool. There's another encounter. We're doing well. So we got triffids. I think it would be hilarious for some things to look magical, but they are not, like the things held up by glass. Okay, encounter. The thieves have inadvertently unlocked the zoo cells while messing with the wizard's magical locks on his vault. Very good idea. Now we have just caused serious bloomin' trouble for everybody. I think that's a brilliant idea. Let's do this. Okay. The thieves have inadvertently unlocked the zoo cells while messing with the wizard's magical locks on the vault. The tower has creatures and monsters wandering around. Right. Okay, I think we've just created a whole mess of problems. It's a good idea. I like it. Smart. Velociraptor cage that opens when they first vault lock is opened without the correct key. Well, yes, we could do that. I'll put it in. I actually really like Pale Rider's idea. I think that's pretty good. I think that covers everything. Now we can just release everything through the tower. That'd be just hilarious. Okay. Velociraptor cages open when the first lock opens. Yes, we've got it. Got that down. We're on 8 ideas now. Now the doppelgangers want help killing the velociraptors and triffids. We could do that, but Die Hard mixed with Jurassic Park. We do feel like it's going that way, isn't it? The wizard's invisible servant in the lab. Okay. Oh, I see. You want to put an invisible servant in the lab. Oh, that's an interesting idea. We could put the invisible servant somewhere else. Why don't we put the invisible servant into the workshop? I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. The wizard's invisible servant in the workshop. Workshop area throws objects, and what else? Moves, throws objects and moves something. Moves important items out of reach. Something like that. Something like that. It's not the best, but it'll do. We've got something there. Power Rider, got it down. The most valuable item in the vault is a rock engraved, peace on earth, goodwill to men. Okay, that would probably mess you up big time if you were trying to break into something, would it not? I think it would. I think it would be hilarious though. Be funny, definitely. So areas that we still have that we haven't done anything with. We still have a teleportation chamber. We still have a museum. We have a library we haven't done anything with. We've still got a renovated level. We have a kitchen. We have a ballroom. Now, the ballroom is probably where our hostages are. Or maybe I'll just write that up. We have apprentice sleeping quarters. We have the men's end floor. We have the lobby. We have an elevator. So, yeah, there's a couple other things we could do here along the way. So, see what other ideas you can come up with, and we'll go from there. And I'll drop this into the encounter section. The most valuable item in the vault is engraved peace on earth and goodwill to. Now, instead of men, and goodwill to all. Goodwill to all. I think we'll do that. This covers everybody. Okay. They find a room with a wizard's spellbook, which turns out to be an intelligent magic item and is really the brains behind the wizard's spellcasting ability. Do you know, I like this idea, negative space. I might actually take this another step. And why am I thinking this would be, and what's another step with this that we can do? Let's do something with the library. Let's go here, paste. They find the library. So the library, because we haven't done anything with the library. The library has a talking wizard spellbook, which turns out to be an intelligent magic item and is really the brains behind the wizard's spellcasting abilities. That is very good. I think that works really well with our library. Negative space, nice job. I think that would be there's your social dialogue encounter. Right, okay. Or they find a animated object which is the wizard's assistant and thinks the player characters aren't trying to cast a spell or something and is trying to help them even though it's not what they doing. Okay. So finding an animated object, wizard's assistant. You're building in a helper basically, aren't you? I think that's what you're trying to do here, is building a helper. Goodwill to men like the moon landing. Yeah, I'm going to remove the word man and just say to all. I'm just going to put all. That's just me. That's just me. Okay. Just me. Anyway, let's put in negative spaces idea around the animated object. The players find an animated Now, what sort of thing would you find and where? What is that animated object going to be, and where would it be? I think that is the question. We could make it we could make it an animated pot plant. I think that would be hilarious. I don't know how useful an animated pot plant can be in your adventure. Players find an animated pot plant. Pot plant, who is the wizard's assistant and helps the group navigate the tower. How's that sound? I think that's what you're trying to go with. From what you were saying, I think that's kind of what you were after. Okay. A good feeling having saved their relatives. Insurance payoff if the relatives died. Okay, all right, okay, we're going dark here. Didn't like Uncle Willie much anyway. Ah, dear. Summoning room has a contained beholder. The beholder's eyes and stalks are wrapped. The beholder promises to help if freed, but if freed will help, flee, or attack. So, Pale Rider, let's take your beholder and let's stick your beholder into the zoo. We actually have a museum as well, by the way, if you we're curious. Find an animated plant in the lobby. Who is the wizard's assistant? There we go. We'll do that there. And trying to situate things in locations. Now the summoning room beholder, I think we have a demon in the summoning room right now, if I remember right. I think there was a no, that's the magic chamber. Magic chamber summoning room is the same thing. What have we got left though? We haven't actually specified there's something in the zoo. We've said that the zoo monsters and creatures are roaming around the tower, but the beholder is probably still there. Let's go with the zoo. The zoo, because we're going to have a zoo in here, apparently. Got to have a zoo for keeping all the animals. Yep, we've got a zoo. So let's put it in. The zoo has a contained beholder. The beholder's eyes and stalks are wrapped. The beholder promises to help if freed, but if freed will be helpful, flee, attack. The beholder promises to help if freed, but let's get real. But if freed will let's do this. Will do any of the following. Help, flee, or attack? Question mark. All right, so we've got the zoo area done. We've got things roaming around our buildings, our building. Now we have to make the PCs take off their shoes before they get into the laboratory. Well, no, we don't need to do that because we can drop glass on them. That's not a problem. That's the ballroom. Okay, so the ballroom is being used to hold the Christmas parties hostages. Christmas parties hostages and is full of guards. Now, guards and terrorists. I'm going to say the word terrorists because I know saying the word terrorists on YouTube always upsets people. Probably YouTube more. we need some real threat, don't we? Okay. Now, a door, if approached, an illusion of the wizard appears and repeats some nonsense What the illusion says doesn't mean anything, and the door doesn't go anywhere. Okay, that's an interesting idea. I like the idea, negative space. I think we should definitely put that in there. Let's put that in, for sure. How much time have we got left? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Geez, we've got a lot here done today. A door, if approached, is an illusion. If approached is an illusion. The wizard. Okay. It's a door, if approached. A door, if approached. Okay, a door, if approached, has a magic mouth cast on it. Okay. A wizard appears and repeats some nonsense. What the illusion says doesn't mean anything, and the door doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so I see where you're going with it. Okay, if a door, if approached, presents a wizard. Presents an illusion of a wizard that repeats some nonsense. What the illusion says doesn't mean anything, and the door doesn't go anywhere. All right, so you've got a red herring. You put a red herring in there. That'll be fun, sure. A trapped hallway that heats up the floor, melting the soles of the PC's shoes. Okay, Pale Rider, not a problem. We can put that in. You want a trap in there? We can put a trap in there. We've got a lot of ideas. We have well and truly gone beyond the 5 or 6 ideas that I had suggested. So this is what happens when you spend too long on something. A trapped hallway that heats up the melting the souls of the players. Melting the souls of the player characters. Shoes. Okay. All right. Got that down. Wow. Man. How am I doing for time? I probably should go. How much more have we got here? We've got quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to stop there. We've got plenty. We've got plenty. I'm really glad that somebody put something in for the museum and the portal room or the teleportation room. That's great. Stop. We are done. We're done for today. I will at least just jump over so you can see this. I want you to be able to see what we've got here today. We did a lot of work in a very short space of time. What we probably do need to is a name. We need a name of the adventure. Hashtag name the adventure. All right. I'm sure you guys will plug those in. So let me at least show you what we have. Okay, I've done that. So from the top, Christmas hostage adventure exercise. We have basically the Die Hard story. We've just modified it for a fantasy environment. Okay, we've got our player characters. We've got our list of locations within the tower, the wizard tower, the tower itself. We've broken it up into pieces. There are a lot of places. We've got 23 different locations. We've got some NPCs that we listed that we're going to use in our adventure. Okay, we've got them. We've got a list of encounters, and there are many. Okay, we're right all the way to about 16. There's probably a few more I need to add. We've got our adventure awards. Now you can be a bit more specific about this, but basically that's it. That's what you need to be able to do this. And of course, you might want to do a map. And you're finished. You're done. You're ready to go. Anyway, I'm going to say this is a good point to stop for today. And yeah, Nakatomi's. We're not going to use the name Nakatomi's Tower of Peril, Willy's Wacky Wizard Tower. Much better. The Tower of Peril, though, the name Tower of Peril is a pretty good idea. I think that's a pretty good idea. I think I can port that over right now and just chuck that in there at the top. Tower of Peril sounds less problematic. You guys can call it the Nakatomi Tower if you want, but I also like Willy's Wacky Wizard Tower too. That's fun. All right, so we've got a couple of names, which is good. And we've got a couple of extra encounters there that I need to drop in. I'll do that later maybe. Okay, so I've got to go to work tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? For those of you who are here, tomorrow I'm going to talk about the future of tabletop role-playing games. It is going to be very general in its nature, okay? It won't specifically be about Dungeons and Dragons only, okay? I will talk about D&D, I will, but I'm going to leave a lot of that to the end, okay? I'm going to talk about the future of Dungeons and Dragons and a whole lot of other things, okay? I'm going to certainly do that. That'll be tomorrow. It's going to be quite a lot of information to put forward. I'm going to start at the same time. Normally on a Friday, I start early at 10 a.m. in New Zealand. I'll be starting at 12 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be starting 2 hours later than I normally do on a Friday for me in New Zealand. Why? I want to sleep. I'm exhausted. Work is really messing me up. I'm going to cover a lot of different topics, all the sorts of things that I think you're going to want to ask me. So all the stuff that if there's any of the questions that I put forward that you're not interested in and you want me to talk about something else in that discussion tomorrow, that's fine. But just put them forward and I'll decide if I will actually respond to that or not. Do you know what I mean? That's my intention. Satanic Santa's Steel Fest. I should have guessed, Fred, that was going to come forward. And I got it now. I understand. Yeah, sure. That'll be a choice. It probably will. Anyway, so that's what's happening tomorrow. Is I'm going to talk about the state of tabletop role-playing games, not about what happened this year really, but more about what's going to happen going forward. So more of an analysis, more of speculation on my part. Some of it will be based in fact. Some of it will be just what's my gut feeling. Okay. So I'll talk about a lot of different things. All right. So I want to say a huge thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to all of my patrons. I do appreciate you hanging out with me and providing so many really cool ideas. Don't feel bad if I did not include all your ideas. Sometimes that just doesn't happen. Okay, sometimes it won't fit with what I'm trying to do. Writing adventures as part of a live stream is actually a very difficult process. It's much easier to just sit down on your own and just have only your ideas going into something, rather than it can go off in all sorts of strange directions and get kind of lost in a live stream. So, yeah. So thank you for those of you who took part in the poll, have been watching and listening, even if you weren't part of the chat. But those of you who have been in chat, such as Pale Rider, Negative Space, Fred Huber, I believe Overboard was here. We had, who else was here that I was jumping in here? We had Betoth, is it Bototh? Botothrizi. I'm not too sure if I got that right. Really, I saw the name pop up and I was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say with that one. So sorry about that. We also had, did we have anybody else that was hanging out with us for a little while? I think we might have had Overboard here at one point, but I can't remember. But there's been a few of you who've been providing most of the ideas. I'm hoping that this will be useful to at least somebody here, or at least highly amusing. At least be entertaining in some way, right? So anyway, look, wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you tomorrow, and we will talk about the future of tabletop role-playing games, not my channel, about tabletop role-playing games, and D&D going into 2024.